I just got back from Florida! My best friends, Katie and Emily, came down to bum around the Tampa Bay area with me. Needless to say, epic ensued. Katie left from Indy and drove down across time zones to Evansville, got in my car, and we drove into Kentucky and eventually back across time zones. Because Indiana is horrible with time zones. We drove from Indiana all the way down to Florida. It took 14.5 hours, and we drove through the night to get there by the time Emily's plane got in. We finally got to Florida and picked Emily up at the airport, spending the day sleeping and listening to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows on audiobook and eating incredibly awesome food cooked by my dad. The next day, we went up to Fort DeSoto's North Beach and checked out the wildlife.
They're so close! Hi, guys!
Oh my god, look at them! They're so pretty! That day could not have been more awesome. We then went to Ruskin and had delicious food at a little bar where there were drunk chicks and an old guy whose parents raised him right, for even though he backed into my dad's car in the parking lot, he searched the entire place until he found my dad and was able to give him insurance info. The next day we went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter where we saw Honeydukes, the Three Broomsticks, and a poster warning us not to approach Sirius Black. Katie and Emily ate Bertie Bott's every flavor beans to my immense entertainment.
Yeah, I ate the whole one, come on.
That is a great face.
I don't know what it is.
You look really sad. It's very unfortunate that you're eating that.
You can spit it out. And I lost my camera, and then found it again. And I almost cried, and that was my story. When we'd had our fill of butterbeer and chocolate frogs, we went home, where Dad cooked yet another wonderful meal for our enjoyment. When we woke up the next morning, we went to the Manatee Viewing Center in Apollo Beach and saw many manatees, huge fish, and birds. Then we went back to Fort DeSoto to see the fort, but it was closed for renovations, so we chilled at the beach, finding things like starfish and sand dollars. Afterward, we drove back to Apollo Beach and ate at a dingy little place called Cherry's, and I'm pretty sure they don't wash the floors there, but it was dimly lit and the food was delicious, so I'm not entirely sure I cared by the end of dinner. The next day was our last, so we all went to the Ybor Grill in Ruskin for lunch. It was there that we ate food made of angel tears and afterwards said goodbye to my dad. We then went back to the Manatee Viewing Center for a few minutes until we had to take Emily to the airport. Then Katie and I drove the 14 hours back in the cold and the rain. It was then that we discovered how much we really hate driving through Georgia and how much we wished we had all stayed in Florida. It was a fantastic trip and none of us wanted to leave. If we didn't all have commitments in our respective cities, we most likely would have remained there indefinitely, whether my dad liked it or not. We did, however, decide that this would be an annual thing and that it would always be dubbed Gigglefest. If any of you guys want to check out the full video, which is 28 minutes long, and yes, I realize that's about 28 years in YouTube time, you can find it in my Mobile Me gallery, link in my pants. On a more serious note, as you all know, Japan was struck with an earthquake yesterday, so please, please join me not only in praying for and sending out positive energy to those affected, but also in donating to the Red Cross for earthquake relief, link below in the description box, or you can text Red Cross to 90999 to donate $10. Thanks for watching my epic story of epicness, and you'll see me next week!
Kayla's gonna laugh so hard. It's not pear.
That's not pear!
It's not pear. Yeah, I know, right? It's not pear.